Good afternoon. Well, here we are. We've let this thing dry for, well over 24 hours. Something like that. Or pretty close to 24 hours. And now we're going to, just got it laid on some newspaper. And we're going to put the patina on it. And I'll show you that doesn't take any time at all. We'll be able to do both sides here in just a little bit of time. Okay, so let me put this camera in its little holder. And I want to make sure that we're up high enough for you to see what's going on. Way up here. Okay, we see about half of it, and we'll move when we get to the need to get to the other half. This stuff is an acid, right? So I don't think you want it on your hands. It's not much of an acid. Now the Novacam Black, I like this brand. It's good stuff. Patina for solder, lead. There's another patina that they make for zinc, and I have not seen much difference between it and this stuff here. I've got some of it, so I don't vary between one or the other. I just use this stuff here. For lead, you can't green patina, Verdigris green patina lead. Somebody asked that question. You put Verdigris green, and that's a JAX, Jack's Chemical Company, produces a really good system of other patinas, particularly for copper foil, if you're wanting to use this real Verdigris green old school patina. And then anybody doing lamps, if you want to know how to patina a lamp, there's a guy on Facebook. He's a practicing dentist, and man, can this guy build lamps. Anyway, his name is Dave Johnson. So go to Dave Johnson's Facebook page if you want to know exactly how to put green Verdigris patina on about anything, but his deal is lamps, and he builds some incredible lamps. And he puts he's got the whole layout, he's got a video that shows you how to do the green Verdigris patina on a lamp, and boy, his work is just outstanding. Well, anyway, we're just going to use black patina on this lid, and can you see what I'm doing here? Yeah. I put about that much there. It's not going to take a lot. If it takes more, we'll get it. And I buy one of these big old real foamy sponges. Then I just cut off a section of it. And that's what I use. So I want to make sure I can get myself in a position where I can make sure you can see all this. Okay. So all I'm going to do is just set this down in there and get a little bit of that patina on. I don't really want a lot because I don't want to flood this thing. In fact, I've got a little more than I would want it on there now. It doesn't hurt it. I just don't want a lot of it on there. Look at that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the lead first. And then I'll come back and do the... Whoa. You gotta be able to see what I'm doing. I'll come back and we'll do the zinc. Let's see, there's just nothing to this. Okay, now I'm just rocking and rolling you all around here. And notice I'm going to make just one pass on that zinc. I'm not going to be rubbing it. Start rubbing it anywhere it looked like it didn't take. And I steel woiled this thing before I started. Boy, you don't want to get the rubbing on it too much. Okay, let's turn it over. Okay, we're going to get a little more. Kind of squeeze it out over here just a little bit. Not much to this. Just a little more. Okay, now we're going to do the zinc. See, I'm just putting it on there. If it looks like it's black, leave it alone. Oh, we're not messing with any more of that. Okay. I'm just not going to touch that. Let that, whoa, I see a spot I didn't get. There you go. Let that just dry for a while. It'll darken that up, and then I'll come back with a soft cloth and clean this up. And then I'll probably squirt a little water on it just to kind of neutralize it. That's why you want that cement to dry. And this window will look different here in another few hours. I'll come back and shoot a couple of still pictures of it when I get it finished up, when it's cleaned up and all that. Okay, the next thing that we want to look at is our next project. And let's lower this down just a little bit. Okay, we're going to do another owl, about the same size, but we want to change it up. And I'll probably change up some of the glass in the owl. I put the tree back where it was and the branch that the owl's sitting on. And the branch over the owl's head. Let's come down there and look at that. Branch over the owl. And then this one I want to do something different. I want to, jack this thing up a little bit. So we added, coming in from the right, there's a wisteria vine right across here. Let me see if you can see this. There you go. Right across here. And so I've got some wisteria. Here's part of a branch off a branch of this tree. And I've got the wisteria kind of going across the top. You don't see any more color up on the top. But here's a wisteria leaf. And then I'm going to draw these leaves that are on this. In fact, we could use one right here. Let me find a pencil. Oh boy, that'll be fun. Oh look, here's a pencil. Okay. The wisteria leaves look a little different than the tree leaves. There's a tree leaf, and then down here in the bottom are some tree leaves. And this branch here is off the tree branch. Right there's a branch there, and a branch there. So I wonder if we couldn't we'll clean this. Oh, there we go. I'm not so sure about that, but anyway, that's kind of more or less what we're trying to do there. Something like that. Anyway, break that thing up a little bit. I put the wisteria in here, and I think that's going to really add that lavenderish color here. And with this brown owl sitting on that branch right there, with this little bit, and I put a little bit of wisteria right here. We'll go behind. Move this. We'll go behind all of this up here with that fractured streamer confetti stuff, and then probably right here around, we need a line right here. I'm looking on this whole piece here, and I was gonna say I could put a part of this, a branch coming off this tree right there, but I think that'll look odd because I don't have a place for it to come out and look right. So let's just put I'm thinking about this piece of glass right here. Just break that right there, so we'll have a piece of glass here and another piece of glass here. And I'll change around some of this stuff up here a little bit. I changed this feet a little bit already. And I think the addition of this lavender wisteria in all this brown stuff, we're going to change the tree out, make it different. I'm going to use some different glasses in the owl this time. I'm going to use a lot of that very cool texture glass, but I think I'm going to... Now this owl, the other one went into a cabinet, and there wasn't any light behind that. And if there is ultimately light put behind it, it'd be, you know, an artificial light. This particular panel is going to actually hang where it can get real sunlight. So we're going to take everything here is going to be a different consideration in respect to picking out the glass, because I've got light coming through this one. The other one, I had to worry about reflected light. In other words, that's all I had. I didn't have any light behind it. So this one, the glass will all be somewhat different. And we add this stuff in here. This is this will slow the process down, but it's not but 2 clusters. I didn't want to put any more in there because it gets a little ridiculous. This thing is only about 1 foot wide. So there we go. And as soon as I get off that lead panel, which is real soon, we'll lay this thing out and start doing it. We'll do some videos of it because we're going to do it again. This will be the only pattern made right here. This is the original. We'll build it on the original. And as we move along here, we'll make patterns as we go based on, I don't know why, I'll speak on that. If we cut this one out right here and set it, make sure it's the way we want it. Then we just take a piece of paper, stick under here, and that gives us this line right here, perfectly matched to the way this piece of glass actually came out. If every single piece of glass that you cut on a window like this, and cut all in advance, if it all fit perfectly, then my method would be a waste of time. I shouldn't say it's my method. It's a method, somebody else does it this way too. It's just the way I'm doing it. So, but I'm doing these things one piece at a time because I want this piece to fit right along this one. And if I put this one in and then make my pattern of this one, cut it, grind it, foil it, and set it down. Then I put a pattern underneath the edge of this one. That means that I will make this piece of glass conform to what I have here. Once I have that piece in, I was looking at this long, slender, that's a somewhat fragile piece of glass there. We'll probably draw ourselves out of that. There's no point to make that thing up here real susceptible to cracking or breaking right there. So that's just the design right now. We'll change it. Anyway, if you were to put this piece in, then I come back, put a pattern piece of paper under here, and make a pattern for this piece of glass that conforms exactly to this piece. So now that one is cut, ground, fit, and foiled. Then we come in and pick another pattern right off here, and we'll build this piece and well, actually, let's back up. We'll build this piece and set it in. Then we'll come back and make another pattern, and that piece of pattern paper will conform to this area here and all along here. We would cut that piece grind fit, foil it. Then we come up here and make another pattern piece. We just go on and on and on. And at the end of that process, by the time we get to the top of this window, all of these pieces will fit properly. And the key on a copper foil window to making it look professional is that the width of these solder lines is going to be real close to the same. If you're not a good cutter, or if you haven't cut this stuff to fit, then everywhere that these don't line up and this piece doesn't fit next to this piece, that hole or void is going to get filled with solder. And so consequently, somebody that's, you know, not disciplined or not cutting their glass real well is going to have a line here that's standard width, narrow, wide, get to here. This didn't fit so well, so that's a glob of solder here, and on and on. And so the whole thing adds up to, it just doesn't look good. So the method that I'm using, I'm going to try not to say it's my method because I didn't invent it. This method that I'm using means that all these pieces, all down through here, are going to fit well, and that there's a uniformity to that solder bead all the way down. And the next thing somebody says, well, you don't have enough, you're not using pattern shears, so you're not cutting the pattern out, therefore you're not going to get enough solder to flow down between these two pieces. That's not the way this works, because if let's do it this way. We've got this piece in, right? Now I'm going to put the piece of paper under here and go right under there. I'll draw that pattern to conform to exactly the shape of this piece of glass. When you get that pattern paper out there, now you can decide, do you want to cut that piece of pattern paper with a little wider opening than what's here? If you get any good at this at all, then you can just, you don't need pattern shears. You just use your X-Acto knife when you cut the pattern, and that's where you compensate for how much space you want between these pieces. A panel like this, no wider than this is, with a somewhat complex matrix, not insane, but somewhat complex. There's so many lines going across here, and you're using 60-40 solder, and so you got 60-40 on one side, 60-40 on the other. There's going to be enough space, even between these, and these will fit good when I get through with them. But there's going to be enough space that there's solder's going to run between them. Not a lot. You don't need a lot. When you have this all soldered, this area here all soldered on both sides, you've got a really strong panel here. And you don't need to worry about, in a panel this size, you don't need to worry about reinforcements, strong line, the fact that you don't have a whole, what you would consider the adequate amount of space between this branch and here. So my panels, the ones I'm working on, are all tight lines, and generally I'm working on these smaller panels. Now if I'm going to go up to a much larger panel, then I start worrying, or not worrying, I begin to concern myself with how much space I'm going to have between this piece and this piece. And that's where, with the X-Acto knife, I add that in. Or, if I don't want to do it with the X-Acto knife and the pattern, I do it with a glass cutter. If I'm going to come down this line here on a piece of glass, then I can bring that glass cutter right inside that line all the way down. There's your space that you want. Whatever amount of space that you want or think you need, you can get. You either get it with the pattern that you're making, or you get it with your glass cutter. That's all there is to it. It's so simple. So there's some labor involved in this thing, particularly when we went from the, just a branch or few across here. And when we added in the wisteria and a lot more leaves, then we added an element of and it's not difficult. It's just more time consuming. But we're headed somewhere with this, and I had no idea. Like I don't have an idea about half the things that I do. But well, first dragonflies I ever did, I thought it was just a dragonfly. I did not know that everybody loves dragonflies. Well, then, so I don't know how many dragonflies I did. Then I just recently did that painted hummingbird. Woo! Man, people went crazy over the hummingbird. So I thought, wow, and that's something. So, and I enjoy doing them too. And then I did this owl. And I've done several owls, but not that look like this. And so I got some big owls in this shop here. So 46-inch across. I have two, one in here and one in my house. So anyway, I did this owl, and I'm always surprised. This thing got more response than, you know, a lot of things I've done that I thought were, you know, much more worthy of a response. But boy, people are, you know, into owls big time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this beautiful brownish beige owl, add that lavender and some yellowish green leaves to this thing, and we're going to have this owl hop right out of this page. So I'm pretty excited about this. This should be really something to see. Okay, well, see, we're over here drying off here, and the patina's done fairly well on this zinc. It's a little bit gray, that's not a problem. The main thing is that we have the we'll sop up a little of that patina there. Look at that. And when I get this thing cleaned off, the idea is that you don't really want to disturb this patina that's on that zinc. And you know, I don't want that kind of old variegated look. That's, I swear, if you saw that thing laying in this could go into a vintage glass shop, just right in a rack, and somebody would think this thing was 80, 90 years old, 100 years old. So, that's exciting. Okay, well, this is going to look a lot better, a lot different when I get it finished. All right. Well, that's all I have. Let me undo this thing here. We want to cover a couple of things here, and what is it? It's only 12:30 here. I'll go ahead and strip out the wood that holds this thing down, get the pattern down, and I'll have this glass here picked out here in just a little bit, and we'll get started. And this is where I'll start. On a piece like this, I kind of want a place to reference from or a place to start. So generally I'll just come and do this whole section, this side here, and then I can just build out from there. Probably come down here and do this section. And I'm probably going to save that owl for last. I did on the last one. I'll come up here and we'll branch out across here and work on some of this wisteria. This stuff here gets, fortunately I don't have a lot of that to do, but the wisteria can get real time consuming. You know, you start working with little pieces like this, and they're irregular, they're not easy to cut, but you want them to look real, so there we are. I think that's going to look pretty sharp. I'm liking that. Okay. Oh, there's somebody. I can't say this. Nasimi? Greetings from Turkey. Man, I'm telling you, the power of this internet is amazing. From Turkey. Wow, long way. I can't make it over there tonight. All right, well, I appreciate it. Oh, wait a minute. It says, how long do you wait till you turn over? I already done the other side. You must not be watching the video there, Maureen. The other side's already... We just did one side. We just did one side and flipped it over and did the other side. Yeah, coming late to the party. All right. So both sides are done. We just have to wait on it to dry just a little bit. I'll go out and squirt some water on it and settle it down, come back in, put it on some clean paper, and then the cleanup on this thing is going to take a while because I got to have this glass all pristine. So that'll take me a little bit to clean that up. On the black patina, solder one side, turn it over, and solder the other. No big deal. Oop, I see one little. If you see a miss spot somewhere, no problem. There it is. We're just putting some more back on. That's why I leave this patina right there. Okay. Well, if you have any questions, be sure and ask, and we'll cover it at one point or another. This thing, we generally don't let up much here. We don't any more finish one than we jump to the next one. I like to stay engaged here. So, and this one I put some thought into what I wanted to do with it different. And that is pretty, boy, man, I tell you what, I can see this thing already. This thing is going to really look good with all that brown. And then you throw in that lavenderish wisteria in there. And those leaves, ooh, those are so pretty. So anyway, this is going to look really, really cool. All right. Thanks a lot.